Hey, what's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I got this question about how does the law of attraction work? I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing to discuss since I did this video on John, why are you such a new age bullshit artist or something like that? I don't know. Anyway, some of you know that I do believe in things like the law of attraction. Strangely enough, yeah. Why do I think that this works? Why would someone who's analytical, an engineer, believe some total bullshit nonsense like the law of attraction? Why would that be? So I'll kind of talk about this here. So let me answer the question here. Let's see, I've got a piece of an email here. It says, awesome, I believe it too. It was very motivating for me, but a lot of people say that the secret is stupid. Okay, so we're talking about the secret here. I can't wait for the video. Please, could you in your video talk more about the impact of the secret in your life? What the idea of the secret changed in your life? Does it work for you? What happened after you started believing in this secret? Examples, your opinions, it'd be amazing. Please, if you can include your opinion on Bob Proctor. I don't think I'm going to do that, but thank you so much. The world would be a better place if there were more people like you. Well, thank you, sir. You have the potential to change many people's lives, including me. Cool. So I think I'm missing part of this email, but anyway, obviously I know what the question is. I'm not going to, okay, so let's get something clear. The law of attraction is not, quote, the secret. I don't want to say I don't have anything particularly against The Secret. If you're interested, if you want to check out The Secret, you can check out the book or the whatever here. The Secret is kind of right but wrong. It's like a commercialized version. It's kind of like made something that is mysterious but useful, spammy, markety, and sort of commercialized, I guess, as I would say. I don't want to talk too much about The Secret, but I think the concept, right? Okay, so you have to understand, the secret is not the same thing as the law of attraction. It's just a way that someone has expressed this idea of the law of attraction. It's not wholly bad, right? It's just that people get carried away with the secret and they don't understand it. And really this comes from not understanding really the law of attraction. And so let's talk about, first of all, what is the law of attraction? And then I'll kind of postulate on how does this work, even though I have no really idea about this, but I do know that it does work, right? Unfortunately, I can't debunk it as not working because I've seen it work too many damn times, okay? So, and it could be just my confirmation bias because I've seen it work in my life, but that's the perspective you're gonna get from my life, right? So what is law of attraction? Essentially this. It is basically this idea that what you think about will become reality, that you will attract the things that you keep on your mind, right? So if you think about something bad all the time or bad things and you dwell on bad thoughts, then bad things will happen to you. And if you think about good things and becoming wealthy and successful and rich and all of this stuff, then those good things will be attracted to you. And people who also are like-minded and think those things will be attracted to you. There's various interpretations, various forms of this, but the essential core of this idea is what you think has the power to shape reality. And so a lot of people have problems with this. And they have problems even with this basic premise of what you think has the ability to shape reality. But I would come back with the argument of the only way to shape reality is by what you think, right? So if I want to reach over and pick up a pen on my desk, right? It has to come from my brain, right? I can pick this up. I am moving something with my mind here, essentially, because somehow, right? I don't know how, right? You can, whatever, the ghost of the machine, you can say somehow my consciousness, whether it be electrical, whatever, or not, or something else, has told my body, right? Physical reality, something, the mind, whatever concept you want to call the mind has told physical reality to change something, which caused an electrical signal in my brain to go down my arm and to pick up this pen. So I have changed physical reality with my mind. In fact, the only way that you or I are capable of changing physical reality is with our mind. So it's not really a super far stretch to say that what you think becomes reality, because we've seen evidence of this, right? Now, I understand that this is still a jump from, there's a difference between picking up a pen, like controlling your body to do something, and having a thought and thinking that you're going to be rich someday, and then that happening. But I guess what I would say is that the mechanism for why it works is not necessarily so important that we understand. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in life that that we don't understand. I think someone put it pretty well when they said that, like, if a caveman picked up a cell phone, he would think it was magic. Actually, I guess he wouldn't be able to call anyone, but if he had an iPhone and he was swiping through the screens, that would appear like magic to him. There'd be nothing that he could compute in his head that would make any kind of remote sense as to why that it worked. But it does work. Just because he doesn't believe that it works, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work. And it's the same thing, I think, with things like law of attraction. We'd have to be pretty arrogant to think that we have so much knowledge at our point in time, that you're born in the point in time where your civilization has evolved to the point that we've got all this shit figured out, and we can say what is magic and what's not magic. There's technology, there's physics, there's the laws of nature that are beyond our understanding at this point, that maybe we'll understand in the future, and we'll say, oh yeah, it's actually true. So there's a lot of ways that the law of attraction could work that could be even mystical in nature, that seem mystical to us, but have a rational explanation in this universe. We just don't understand these properties and mechanics of how thought works and how it actually does shape the world, and you don't even have to believe that, right? Like, I believe that that's possible. I honestly do, but I can understand the skepticism around that. But I would say that even if that's not the case, like, there's even a plausible explanation based on, with this limited amount of knowledge that we do have about the universe, which would just be like, if you think about bad things, you are going to be more predispositioned, whatever it is, to gravitate towards or to do those things, or to be pre-primed. It's like your brain is primed for those things. And if you're thinking about good things, right, you're kind of setting your goal setting mechanism in your brain to automatically fire and look for that goal. You've set the goal. A good book on this that does not go into the woo-woo stuff, for those of you that are very skeptical, and I understand, I was extremely skeptical, and so and I am to some degree a lot, right? Even though I guess my shift has been from, I'm still skeptical in facts and data that people give me, right? But I'm also willing to acknowledge that there's a lot of things that are beyond our understanding, and so I don't judge as much the explanation as the results. I say, does the thing work, right? I don't have to understand how it works. If someone does give me an explanation, I will debunk the explanation of how something works. So that's where my skepticism is. But I don't have to understand things in order for them to be applicable and useful for my life. So anyway, for you skeptics that don't understand how this goal-setting mechanism could work, how the law of attraction could work, read a book called Psycho-Cybernetics. This is by Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Good book, and it's very scientific in nature, right? I mean, it's a self-help book, but he talks about the goal-setting mechanism of the brain. And this sort of, to me, Psycho-Cybernetics is the book that explains the law of attraction more in scientific terms that you can understand. And he would probably say, oh, how does the law of attraction work? Well, simple. When you're thinking about things and you're dwelling on them, your brain is setting a goal, a target. And all that our biology does, like, our brains are really efficient machines at achieving targets, right? What they do is they have a goal, they attempt to reach that goal, and they learn from failures and mistakes, and they keep on navigating until they go and hit that goal. And a lot of people don't have a goal, so they're wandering aimlessly, or they're priming their brain with negative goals, things that they don't want to happen. If you're thinking about the thing that you don't want to happen, you're kind of telling your brain to make that happen, and so you start to, your brain, subconscious starts to steer you in that direction. So I think there's a pretty valid explanation. You could, I honestly think that there is some part of this scientific valid explanation, and there's some part that's just like beyond explanation, because there's been some such uncanny, quote, coincidences, and I don't believe in coincidences, by the way, that have happened in my life that are law of attraction like, that I just can't explain them away. Like it's, and I've had multiple people that that have had similar experiences. It's just crazy, right? When you think about it. And again, right, the law of attraction is heavily described in the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That is essentially one of the quintessential like law of attraction books. Why is it that every time I talk to a famous or rich person and I ask them like, what book changed your life? What book would you recommend everyone reads? Why is it that like a huge percentage of them just say Think and Grow Rich? Why? You see what I'm saying? Like there has to be a reason for this, right? This is not just coincidental in nature. So again, maybe the explanation is totally scientific and is totally just how your brains work, and the psychology of what you're thinking about is the goal setting mechanism that you set for your brain. And that's why law of attraction works, is because and you're giving off 1,000 different micro expressions that end up attracting other people that are also giving those micro expressions because of mirroring neurons in our brain or something like that, right? I mean, that's totally plausible, right? That could totally explain away, I think, the law of attraction. I could see that. But also maybe it's just something that we don't understand. Maybe it's something that we just totally don't get, but it works, right? It's like, one person posited, I think Scott Adams had actually posited that it works maybe because we're in a virtual reality, right? And we're running in a simulation, and there's this weird hack in the simulation. I guess he was talking about this idea of positive affirmations, but same idea, same thing, right? So I don't know, try it out. You know what I mean? This is the best thing, right? This is what I always say. It's like, don't take my word for it. My word isn't gospel. No one's word is gospel, but try it. Like, try changing your mindset. Try thinking about the things that you want to happen that are positive, and see if the law of attraction works for you. See if you see these things that can't be explained by coincidence, and see what happens, right? And then if you don't understand why it works, but it works, then keep doing it. Do you need to understand? I mean, there's very little shit that we understand. That we think we understand human biology, we think we understand physics, we think we understand chemistry. We don't know jack shit. We don't know about the universe. We know a very small fraction of what reality is. We're seeing it through a very foggy lens, right? But what we do have that works is models, working models that are good enough to navigate, right? So, I mean, we can send these models, the models that we have of the universe, of physics and astrophysics and whatnot, allow us to send a probe all the way to freaking Mars and land that sucker, right? They're pretty dang accurate, right? Even if they're not exact and we don't quite understand exactly how everything works, models can still be useful even though they're not the absolute truth. Like, we don't understand why or how gravity works. Not really, right? But we can still use a model and computations and equations that get us the benefits of it, right? Someday maybe we'll say, oh, all the shit that we thought we knew about gravity, that was total crap. But these models, these equations we use to model it were very rough approximations. Like, they were off by so far, but it was close enough to be within the precision of several decimal places, that allowed us to actually send a probe that far and land it on Mars, right? You see what I'm saying? Like, things are going to change, but models are useful, and the same thing may happen with the law of attraction, and you can apply the same thing, right? Is say, I don't understand how this works, but this is a model that seems to work, right? What I think about seems to influence reality. It seems to actually cause these things to manifest in my life, right? And you can test this not just with yourself, but looking at other people. Honestly, if you look at and you see people that are always bringing, like, bad shit always happens to them, they're always thinking about bad shit. You hardly ever see a super positive person have bad crap happen to them all the time. Now, I'm sure there's exceptions, but in general, what you think about does influence reality. And, like I said, field test it yourself and see if it's not true. And if it doesn't work for you, then throw the shit out. I don't care. Like, you're not gonna hurt my feelings if you say it's crap. I don't care. It's working for me, so I'm gonna do it, right? So, yeah, anyway, there you go. That's how I think that maybe that it works. I think it's to be honest, 1 part science and 2 parts mysticism. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So anyway, if you like this video and you want to attract yourself to like-minded people through the law of attraction, all you got to do is click the subscribe button, and then you will be attracted to the other videos on this channel. How amazing is that? All right, I'll talk to you next time. Take care.